Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. So once again I'm outside. We have been having the most perfect weather. Last night there was just so many storms and that thunder and lightning were just booming in every direction. And then this morning I wake up and it's beautiful sunshine again. The cicadas are going, the crickets are going, the bird life is flustered and moving around, and I just wanted to sit outside once again and do another video because I do prefer filming outdoors, as it's cooler, it's more natural, it's more beautiful, it's vibrant. And I thought that being outside today to do my February favorites video would be perfect. So that is what I'm going to do today, my February favorites. Now I have put all my favorites in a basket. This is my witch's basket, and that basket comes with me when I'm out doing outdoor rituals with my coven, and basically it's my witch's basket. And so I decided that I was going to put all of my favorites into my basket, and it's now my basket of favorites, my February basket of favorites video. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go through the items that I have been having a hell of a good time with throughout the month of February. One deck sort of snuck in there towards the end, but has left such an impression on me that I felt like I had to include it. So I've only been working with it for approximately 2 weeks. So I guess that's half a month really when you think about it. And you know, so I decided that I would include it because it is beautiful. I've had a really great time with it. It's a deck that I've been talking about, and why not begin with the decks then, since I've gone. So the deck that I'm talking about is the Light Visions Tarot by James Eads, which I unboxed recently and have been using quite a bit of late. This deck is absolutely beautiful. In the grand history of James Eads and his Prisma Visions Tarot, it is a deck that follows a continuous flow. So if you put it all out in a line, all the suits make up a whole picture. And that is something that I have really loved about the Prisma Visions. Aside from the fact that it is a beautiful high quality deck, there is just this extra layer to it, and that, you know, continuous storyline via imagery that I find really enticing. Now, this deck took me by surprise in the sense that it is this beautiful eggplant, deep purple color, and rather than it being black and white, it's this beautiful ivory, creamy, you know, high tone to it. And so there are only those two colors shown throughout the deck itself, and yet the deck is still so vibrant. The imagery is so evocative, and I have just had such a great time using it and journaling with it and just, you know, gazing at it. And I think that this is a very beautiful deck, and I've been having such good fun with it. The gilding is gorgeous, the backing is beautiful, and all in all, it's just a beautiful deck, and I have just loved it. So it definitely had to make its way into my February favorite. The next deck that I'm going to show you is an oracle deck that I must admit I felt very resistant to. It is the Mother Mary Oracle by Alana Fairchild. This deck was gifted to me by my sister a couple of Muggle Christmases ago, and I had utilized it once. I appreciated it for its art, I must admit, but it was mostly shelved. And then very recently I began a bit of an internal healing journey, which I've spoken in brief about on my channel regarding the mother wound and the fact that I'm doing a bit of shadow work, and it's been very rewarding. And I felt like I needed to go there with this deck. I felt very drawn to this deck for various reasons that I will probably do another separate video about regarding this deck. But this particular deck is about the archetypal energies and the soft, gentle nature of Mother Mary. And Mother Mary may invoke many an image or a feeling to each and every one of you, but to me it had a definite shape, and that shape is something that I felt like I really needed to work on. And so I thought that I would grab this deck and I would do a bit of journaling, and I would sit with it, and I would really go there, and I would just open myself up to it. And what I found is that it was incredibly soothing. I actually classed it as annoyingly nourishing because I was so resistant to it. I didn't accept the language in which the guidebook conveyed its messages. And and some of that resistance is something that I had to work through, because just because I might be resistant to something, it doesn't necessarily mean that something isn't nourishing to me. And I had to sort of push that resistance aside and really force myself to go there. And it wasn't gentle. It wasn't gentle for me to do that. It was quite transformational, actually. And what I found is that I would burst into tears some days, and I would write epic long journal entries in other days, and then I would just sit there and gaze. But I worked through it. I've been working through it, and yes, I am still using this deck, so I have much more to say about it than just this. But I have found that this deck has been very, very healing for me. And while it's not a favorite by conventional standards, it's a favorite in the sense that it has done what I wanted the deck to do, and that was to open myself up a bit further to the concept of Mother Mary, to assist me to work with my mother wound, and to do so in a very gentle and loving fashion. I didn't know I wanted it to be gentle and loving, but apparently I did, and apparently this is, so it made its way into my favorites. The next deck that I wanted to show you here, it took me by surprise, actually. I began committing to this journey of healing and internal work and the mother wound and all of this sort of business, and I decided that I would make a trip into my New Age bookstore here in town, which is the place that I have been resisting going for some time because I've minimalized. And I I went in there and I picked up the Earth Warrior Oracle by Alana Fairchild, which I'm not prepared to speak on just yet. And then on a whim, I just saw this one, I turned the back, and I was on a healing journey, so it appealed to me. And this is what it's called. It's called the Heal Yourself Reading Cards. It's by Segal, and it's by Rockpool Publishing, which is absolutely beautiful. And I saw the artwork on the back, and I thought, wow, that is stunning. That is absolutely stunning. And then, this is the inside of the box. It's absolutely beautiful, little magnetic clasp. It comes with a very, very decent guidebook, and a guidebook that I can totally get behind, because basically you get the image and you get one page. It's succinct, it's straight to the point, it's descriptive, and it's everything that you need it to be. This deck was so useful. It was so everything that I needed it to be. The artwork is absolutely stunning. Yes, it may lack diversity. That is one of the criticisms that this particular deck has gotten, but I think the same could be said about most decks these days. It's annoying, but it is what it is, And I think that if we want to create more diversity in our decks, then we absolutely need to be in the space, or prepared at least, to create our own deck to include the diversity which we believe is lacking. So with that aside, this deck is absolutely stunning for what it is. It promises to be this absolutely beautiful healing type of deck, and it definitely hits the mark. I was so inspired after a couple of draws with this deck that I decided to begin utilizing it on daily draws, or through daily draws with my coven. So every morning I would pull a card for each of my coven members, and they would work with it, and they too absolutely loved this deck. It sort of came out of nowhere. Nobody knew anything about it. I had no experience with it. The style of deck itself, it's definitely not something that I would ordinarily have gone to, and yet it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm, and I just loved it. I loved the way that its message made its way through to you, and how each day that you would draw a card, a theme was depicted, and the healing journey, the healing portion of it, that is another thing that I really liked. It's about the action down the bottom here. You've got an action. Each one is very different, and if you followed through, or you as closely as you could followed through, then you would find yourself anchoring deeper into the moment, and it was very mindful. The whole process was very mindful. This is the backing of the deck, by the way. A really, really beautiful deck. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend this deck. Highly recommend it. I'm so surprised, because the heading, like the Heal Yourself reading cards, it never drew me in. I'd seen this on the shelf and walked past it time and time again, because this kind of thing is not something that I resonate with. But I was in the right headspace at the right time, and I had my guard down, my barriers were down, I was very open, and I went there, and I'm so glad that I did. And it's taught me to be a little bit more open-minded. It definitely taught me never to judge a book by its cover, which is obviously one of the most common sense types of advice that is given to you even as a young child. And yet I'm still a book by cover sort of a girl. It's something that I'm working on. Just let me say that. It's something that I'm working on. But absolutely beautiful. Loved it. Right, so I would like to go into jewelry, sacred adornments. I'm really loving working with sacred adornments. And, you know, one of the most beautiful sacred adornments that I have been working with is this beautiful Rainbow Light Gem Strand by Carnelian Jade. It is a sacred adornment that I have done a video on. It is about 1 meter long, and it's made of rainbow tourmaline and silver. And it's like rosary wire, and I've just loved it. It's non-clasped. It has these little jewels at the very end of each end, and so that's one end there. It's very beautiful, and this is the other. There you go. And it snakes around you and creates this amazing opportunity for free adorning, which is a new thing for me, because most of my jewelry does have a clasp or have elastic to keep all the beads together, etc, etc. This is a whole different concept for me. I've been able to use this as a headpiece. I've been able to use this as a belly chain. I've been able to use this as a bracelet, as a necklace. I've been able to use this as a shaker. I have been able to use this as an altar adornment. This is one of the most versatile sacred adornments that I have in my collection, and it is something that I have just fallen in love with so quickly and has become quite the security blanket for me. Sometimes I'll grab it, I'll take it off, I'll put it in the palm of my hand like this, and I'll shake it around my children before they go to school in the morning, just to give them that sense of safety and that, you know, that rainbow beauty and that encouragement and that vitality and that creativity and that just genuine crystal healing, you know, the good stuff. So that is the beautiful gem strand made for me by Carnelian. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Next is another one, and this is the beautiful spiral light. I believe it's called spiral light. Yes, spiral light pendant that came in the Witch's Bounty box. So as you may know, the Witch's Moon does the moon box, or the Witch's Moon box, and they do the Witch's Bounty, which is sacred adornment. So you get a pendant, you get an oil, you get a crystal, and it's all usable. And this one here just took me for a ride. I mean, look at it. I'm going to bring it as close as I can. I'm going to flip the camera around because you need to be able to see this one to really appreciate its beauty. I mean, look at it. Look at how just absolutely beautiful it is. That's the backing of it. It's so raw. It's so, you know, it's so polished. The back's very, very smooth. But the front is this like spaghetti-like lattice entanglement of sort of like a druzy crystal. It's very, very, very beautiful. The next items of sacred adornment are what I would consider to be my crystal mafia, which is a very odd thing to say, I recognize. However, I like load myself up with these bad boys. Like, I'm like this, and they're heavy, they're big, and they're heavy, and I walk around like a shaker. I turn into like this melodic shaker thing, and I really, really love them. Now, some of these I've had for the longest time. Some of them are recently gifted. Most of them are used and consecrated in ritual space. And so I have obsidian, which is in itself a talisman. It's something that I have done, you know, solid magical work with in association with raven energy and green ant energy as well. This is unikite, and I like to wear this when I'm wearing a bit more earthier colors. I like to wear a lot of green. Actually, I'm wearing one of my favorite types of green right now, and a lot of blues and a lot of grays. I go through these moods where I tend to go for these, you know, earthy neutral colors. Then I have sodalite, And this sodalite actually looks a lot like lapis in certain parts, so I have a feeling that they might have mixed some gems together and just whatever. But I really like to wear this one. I wear this one quite a bit actually, because I do wear a lot of blue for some reason, probably because my throat chakra needs a little bit of work. This is amethyst. Even though it looks like iolite, it is amethyst, and it's starting to, oh no, that's just a, I was going to say it's starting to fall apart, but it's not. It's actually just a strand of cotton. So this is beautiful. This was a gift to me by my friend Ange, and she sent it all the way from America, and I just love it because amethyst is, of course, my spirit stone. I absolutely adore it. I have a lot of it on my table. Just yummy. And then this was a birthday gift from my friend Kayla, and I think it's ruby zoite, if I'm saying that correctly. But it's got a very beautiful feminine earthy tone. It's very Pachamama, you know what I mean? Very Gaian energy and deep earth, and with this touch of mystical creativity, which I really like. So I have others that I must admit that I like using, but of late I've been rocking these ones, and I've been putting them on, and I've been stomping through the supermarkets doing this, and I've had this on, and sometimes I have this and this on, and so I've just been having a hell of a good time with it and anointing everything. Which is another thing that I'm going to show you now, which is, it's a nice little segue into my oils, my favorite oils for February. Okay, so I have some oils that made it into my February favorites basket this month, and some of these may even have been repeated the last time I did a favorites. And I must be honest, I don't consistently do favorites, although I would absolutely love to be able to commit to consistently doing favorites, because I adore watching favorites and I adore making favorites videos. So why? I'll work on that. The very first oil that I'm going to show you is the Spirit Guide oil by the Witch's Moon. So it comes in the Witch's Moon subscription box. And I've got to say that I've had this oil for a couple of months, and the amount of time that I use it actually took me by surprise. The smell is quite light and fresh and quite almost minty, but it's quite an activating scent. And it's not usually the type of scent that I naturally gravitate to from a perfume standpoint, if you know what I mean. But an absolutely beautiful oil to anoint your temples, to anoint your jewelry, to anoint your surface, to anoint your candles, to anoint your decks even, like the ones that at least have a metallic edge so that the oil doesn't necessarily seep in and damage any of the cards that you might be using. But an absolutely beautiful oil, and I've got to say I've been having a hell of a time anointing, you know, talismans and paper and things of that nature. Just a variety of applications, and just a beautiful oil that is incredibly activating and really does connect you with that sense of spirit all around. And for those who are perhaps, you know, struggle a little bit with connecting with guides, this is definitely something that I would recommend. My little Rennie Roo just interrupted. She wanted a little bit of yogurt, and so it is what it is. Anyway, the next oil that I wanted to show you is the Cosmic Bond oil, and this came with the Witch's Bounty, so the jewelry subscription, and it's got blue cornflower seeds in there amongst some other lovely herbs. And I have been using this to really connect with crystals and to create a sense of synergy in Magick. So I anoint just about every item, and then I bond myself. I do a bonding type of meditation, a little journey, and I imagine myself weaving all of these items into one, creating this sense of deep and powerful unity before I unleash my spell. I raise my vibration, unleash my spell. So this is actually an incredibly functional oil for those who fancy a little magic, for those who fancy a little manifestation work, a little, you know, deep journey meditation work for the purpose of enhancing such magical workings. And so I highly recommend it. It has a incredible fragrance. It's incredible. It's just incredible, and I adore it. So even as a perfume, it works. So yes, that is the Cosmic Bond oil, and I really want to show you these oils at the end. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up so you can actually see the herbs suspended in the oil, because it is a thing of beauty. Next is the Fruition oil. Now, the application of fruition oil obviously speaks for itself, but it has been one that I have been reaching for of late, probably for the last 2 months, and it too has blue cornflower in it, and it just smells heavenly. Oh, it's so lovely. It's got a real fresh flower smell to it, which I like. It's like high spring in a bottle. So this has been one that I have been reaching for time and time again. It is a fantastic one for anointing candles, for candle magic, for anointing crystals, in abundance grids or prosperity grids or healing grids, things of that nature. And I've been oiling my surface because I work on a wooden surface. Most of you would know this, that I like to work on top of wood, have my sacred spaces on top of wood. I did away with altar cloths a while back, and I've really never looked back. It's been really fun just to work with that surface. So yes, that is the fruition oil, and that's another Moonbox one. The last oil that I'm going to show you is by Magia, and it is a perfume oil, and my covered and I absolutely love, oh, I love this oil. It is a luxurious, decadent, delicious oil. And it is also incredibly beautiful to look at. So as a perfume, this one is just amazing. I like to use this one on Fridays. Fridays have always been a day that has been sacred to Aphrodite for me, and so I like to adorn myself in keeping with that theory of old. And this is an oil that I go for because it has a tone of vanilla in there. At least it does to my nose. I don't exactly know what kinds of oils have been used in here, but I'm sure that they resonate with the energy of Aphrodite. So yes, Magia, this beautiful, it's called Ways of the Goddess. That is the name of the perfume oil, and it is highly, highly recommended. The girls in the coven just adore this, We lather ourselves. Whenever I bring this to ritual, it's just like everyone has to wear it because it is so, so delicious, and we all have such different tastes, so it's just amazing that everyone gravitates to it at the same time. So it's just such a pretty fragrance, and it's so yummy. So yes, absolutely a February favorite. As promised, I wanted to bring you in close to these beautiful oils so that you could see how just lovely they really are. Look at all of that just swimming. Oh, so yummy. Here's the spirit guide. Here is the fruition. The fruition is just a handsome oil. Look at that. I don't know why I find this so beautiful. I just love looking at the herb move in the oil. It's rather meditative for me. And Magia's Ways of the Goddess. I mean, look at that. It is stunning. It is a stunning oil to look at and watch those beautiful natural ingredients move. Oh, just so beautiful. So in alignment with the oils, I have 2 sprays here that 3 sprays, make it 3 sprays. I have 3 sprays here that have been an absolute favorite for a couple of months now. The first is the Protection Spray by Dominia Lunea Apothecary in the UK. This beautiful spray has been utilized quite a bit. See, I've gone through it. It's to about here. And I have been spraying it on my little ones before they go to school, and just myself before I go out in nature, using my, tourmaline for protection and just keeping my things locked down. So that has been really beautiful. It's got a lovely fragrance to it as well. The fact that I use it on my child and or children, because I have 3, is a testament to the fact that I believe that it is very, very, very good quality. And then I have the Tarot spray, which came in the Tarot Moonbox. This is a beautiful, beautiful spray. I absolutely adore the eye and it has the nicest fragrance, and it is something that I like to use between, during, before, after, all that sort of business when I'm doing my readings. When I'm sitting down for a day of readings, I spritz myself just to open up sacred space in a way, and go for it. And in between my readings, I'm spritzing myself as well, and re-anointing myself and smudging myself. I like to keep my energy very clean during reading sessions. Got a little bug flying around me. So that is the Tarot spray from the Witch's Mint. And then last, but by no means least, is a spray that actually is a spray that took me by surprise. And then again, I'm not so surprised. This is the Space Clearing Potion by Elder Crow. I'm very low. Like, I think it's like here. It's down to here. And I use this so much. I use it throughout my entire space, my entire home. I use it on myself. I use it on my children. I use it. I just use it. I take it out to ritual with me. It is a very, very functional spray. And I've got to tell you that when the weather is extremely hot and I don't really, thank you, guy with a chainsaw, and I don't really want to smudge because it just creates that suffocating sensation for me because it's steaming hot, it's humid, and then you want to add smoke to that. No, I don't think so. So I then reach for something that's a little bit more hydrating, a little bit more light, a little bit more fresh, a little bit more, misty and cool. And that is the Space Clearing Potion by Elder Crow. Now, Elder Crow is a clinical aromatherapist. I trust his work implicitly. He is a doll, an absolute doll. He is a witch. He is a creator and an educator, and I've got to say, his store is called Earthly Alchemy. I will leave the link in the description box below, but this is a highly, highly recommended spray. It's a highly recommended tool, in fact, I would go as far to say. It has multiple functions. You will find yourself reaching for it time and time again. And if you're a person that is in for example, a space where burning is not suitable, where you might have ultra sensitive, fire alarms, you might be sharing space with other people that don't enjoy the scent of, things burning, like botanicals burning, like sage or Palo Santo or other holy woods or incense even. This is an answer. This is an answer. This is an incredibly, incredibly beautiful answer to that problem. So look into it. So since we are kind of in a space of fragrance right now, I wanted to talk about this. It's a sniff box. It's made in New Zealand, and it is an aromatherapy box. It has these beautiful little beads on the inside, and holy mother of everything that is sacred and holy, it is so delicious. This one here is the De-Stress blend, but they have multiple blends, one for focus, one for jet lag, one for whatever. This one was gifted to my husband for Christmas by his sister, so my sister-in-law, and I only found it about a month ago, and I have been obsessed. I use this more than my husband does. I'm trying to get a hold of it. I want to buy more of it. I want to try all of them. I'm just yes. And when the kids are being difficult, when they're a bit stressy, when they're a bit hyperactive, I'm like, have a little sniff, like a crazy person. But it's aromatherapy and it's beautiful. So it calms them down at night time. I give them a little sniff so that they can sort of start to unwind and relax. And it helps them get to sleep. And it helps me to sleep. It helps me to dream, in fact, which is, I'm always up for anything that helps me to dream. So that is the sniff box. Yes. It's by Magickal Botanicals. It's actually called a sniff box. I'm not making this up. There you have it. Sniff box. It's apothecary. It's aromatherapy. It's de-stress. It's a blend of lavender, ylang ylang, marjoram, vetiver to ease tension, restore balance. Ideal for busy lifestyles, of which I have. Yay! And then I've got a little Lush. I've got one Lush item. I wanted to bring out all of my Lush, quite frankly. I'm a bit obsessed with Lush, and I've recently turned one of my best friends onto Lush. I said, Lush has an app and it will revolutionize your life. And she's like, oh my God. A week later, she's had 2 orders from Lush, and she's like, oh my God, this is the best thing you've ever showed me. I'm like, that can't possibly be true, but at the same time, it is probably true. So this is R&B. This is a hair moisturizer that smells like quite frankly, it smells like a god. And it's very, very creamy, and it is extremely, extremely scented. It's very, very good for hydrating the scalp. Now, I live somewhere where it's very humid. My scalp gets really irritated, and I have been struggling with this. I use all natural products on my head. I actually use all natural products on my body as well. But I recently discovered this when I was in Brisbane, and I went for it, and it has been my saving grace. It has been my absolute saving grace. This has been a game changer for me. I'm no longer like irritated in the head. I can go a lot longer without having to wash my hair. Like, I was washing my hair every second day because I needed to get that sense of irritation out, and my hair is very clean, so I just couldn't understand it. So I figured out that I must be dehydrating my scalp some way or irritating my scalp. And so I have a shower. I use Godiva shampoo bar, or the co-wash conditioning shampoo creamy thing. And it's creamy here, at least, because everything melts. And then I come out and I use this beautiful R&B right on the roots, and I just massage it, and it's really nice. It takes time, I must admit, and time is not something that I genuinely have, but for this reason, because I get so irritated and because I'm fed up with it, I really take the time to massage it into my hair, and it's just revolutionized my scalp. I cannot emphasize this enough. I could cry because it was a problem. So that is the R&B by Lush. Let's throw in my water bottle for good measure. I bought this water bottle in the new year because I was sick and tired of my other water bottles, and I love it. It's cheeky, it's insulated, it has a nice little padding at the top, it's a screw top, it keeps my water cold. That's what I want. I don't need anything to be kept hot here in the tropics, but I go on a big hike, I put cold water in here, and it's cold, 4 hours after. And that's really nice, and I absolutely love it. So it is mine. I'm that protective of it. The kids can't even use it. They, for some reason, love to share my water bottle, and I have just drawn a hard and fast line against that. They're big enough now to, to not do that, in a pinch, in an emergency situation, of course, but I'm a bit of a germaphobe, and I don't like that kind of thing. So I've really put a hard no, like that's a hella no. So it has been, creating tremendous amounts of opportunity for me to be hygienic because I've drawn that hard and fast line. It's beautiful. It is a little bit heavier, but that's okay because, quite frankly, I'm starting to minimize what I put in my handbag. And I've just got to say that it's very, very functional, and it's eco-friendly too, because I'm not burning through water bottles, and I'm definitely not burning through plastics. So that is something that's important for me. So I wanted to show you a couple of crystals. And the first one is Carnelian, my ultimate creativity stone, which I absolutely adore. I absolutely love this piece of carnelian for meditation. Like, you can hold it and you just sit there. It's so lovely. And carnelian can be very cleansing to other stones as well. But look at this piece of carnelian. It's just heavenly. I'm going to give you a close-up of this one. And the other one is jade, because I've been working at soothing myself a little bit, because I've been working in the field of healing and soul work. I went for a very soothing healing stone, and I really quite like jade. But I'm going to show you a close-up of both of these stones because they are gorgeous. Look at this stone. Just look at it. It's incredible. Look at it. And here's the jade. Just lovely. So I wanted to show you a few journals and a few books. Now, one book actually. 3 journals, 1 book. So the book that I'm working with in alignment with my shadow work and my healing journey and all of the things that I've been talking about is the Tarot and Shadow Work for Activating Dynamic Power. Now, this is a course book by Benabel Wen. Her course was available on Tarot Summer School in 2017, and It is something that has gone legacy there, so you can still purchase this course on Tarot Summer School. You will not get sent out this book. You will get the digital files, and you can print out this book and bind it through Lulu. It's very inexpensive, I believe. This one here cost $11 US to do. I didn't do it. I didn't have Zip. So Laura did it for me, and so she tells me all this information. It is incredible. It is a full workbook. It's a dedicated process. There's more information here than you can possibly process in a short-term period. So this is an ongoing type of course. So I will be doing this for months, if not the whole year, because I don't have the time to sort of sit down every single day and dedicate hours and hours to it. And I like to process things very slowly because it is healing work. So I like to take my time with that sort of thing. And so that's the process that works best for me. So that is the Tarot and Shadow Work for Activating Dynamic Power by Annabelle Wen, who is a hella cool chick, I must admit. Now, in association with that, I decided that I would go and get myself a journal, a black journal, for my shadow work. And I did, and I grabbed a grid Moleskine, or Moleskine, depending on how you pronounce it. But this is my first one. There you have it. There's a little thingy down the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's floppy, which I like, but it's kind of soft covered, and the pages are grid. So I prefer either grid or dot grid, and plain if it's an art journal, but I tend to work better with grid. I actually like doing art over the top of dot grid and grid. So it's just what I like. Not everyone is like that. And it's beautiful paper, and I have been utilizing it for my shadow work journal. I'll probably need another one. I'll probably need another 6 of them. Moleskines are not incredibly inexpensive, so I think very carefully before I I put pen to paper, and I make sure that, you know, what I write down is what I need to write down, and I'm very mindful about it. So this is, of course, something else that takes time, which is why I'm moving very slowly through the book itself. Things to consider. And I have another journal. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. Some people say it's a Leuchtturm 1917. Some people say it's a lectern. I don't have a definitive opinion on that, but it is gold, or like a copper color, and I absolutely love it. It is dot grid, so yay for me. It is a nice beautiful dot grid. Oh my god, my stuff is falling out. I haven't glued things in yet. I'm meant to be gluing that. And it's very, very good paper, and it's one that I have been using for, you know, for journaling and for drawing, and, you know, and for that kind of, you know, sort of stuff. It's just my magical kind of year book. It's not necessarily a book of shadows per se. It's just a magical diary. So I record any spells that have been really effective for me. I record ritual with coven. I record magical gift exchanging. I record anything that I believe has a deep meaning for me and has touched me in some way from a spiritual perspective. So I utilize this book. So this is my magical journal. And of course, it's not, I can use that as long as I like, you know, and I only change when I fill it up. And so it's not bound by date, which is something that I quite like. Neither is the Moleskine. It's not bound by date. So these are actual beautiful, iconic style notebooks that I get it. I get why they're iconic. They're very, very lovely, and highly recommend it. And I'm having a very good time with all of them. The last notebook that I'm going to be showing you is the Hobo. So this is the Hobonicci Techo cousin, and it's a 2018. Hello, beautiful nature. I have it in a Foxy Fix journal cover. This is an A5 Foxy Fix, and it is lovely. And I've got to say, I have been loving this for, you know, for daily draws and for, you know, for doing this sort of thing. Just doing lots of daily draws with my Mother Mary Oracle and with my beautiful Sun and Moon, which I'm using. The reason why Sun and Moon isn't in this video is because Sun and Moon will always be in my favorites, and so I don't feel like I need to show it all the time. And also it is sitting amidst a grid of crystal, herb and candle. It's like it's heavily in a grid because I recently charged it, reconsecrated it, did a deep journey with it, took it to the underworld, took it to meet my power animal, had an incredible time with a deity under the underworld, and just had a really good time. So it's sitting there and it's basking. There will be a photo on Instagram to show you exactly what I'm talking about. That's where it is right now. So yes, I've been loving the hobo. I've been doing daily draws, not really doing copious amounts of journaling about it, but recording down my instant feelings, and and moving through the weeks, and then recording it effectively, and then determining what the themes are for me. And so by Sunday I get to go over my work and all the entries that I've made for the week, and I get to determine exactly what my mood really was, where my thought processes were, where my theme really was in existence, and if I have any carryover themes. So this helps me to make sure that I'm not in any cyclical pattern, because I'll go over it every week and determine what kind of a mood I've been in. So it's a great way to promote mindfulness, it's a great way to promote self-awareness, and it's a great way to connect with your cards. And I have been using different cards with each and every entry. I started off solid with Sun and Moon and Mother Mary, then I moved to the Heal Yourself reading cards. I've been journaling recently about the Light Visions Tarot, and and so on and so forth. And I've begun work with the Naked Heart Tarot as well, which is also basking in a rather ritual state of being. But I have done my first draw with that one, and I haven't utilized it enough for it to be a February favorites yet, but it will probably be a March favorites because I feel such a pull to that deck. One other item that I kind of wanted to talk about, I can't exactly show you, but I wanted to talk about it, was this beautiful Yule Anthology, a collection of stories done by 3, I believe, remarkable creators in the pagan community, both on Instagram and on YouTube. Now, Shutki Shaman and Bard's Lament are 2 of the names that have popped into my head, but there is a 3rd author to that, and it was released around the time of Yule, and they are a collection of beautiful stories that really touch the heart, really pagan-centered stories that just stole my heart. Now, it took me a little while to get there, to go through it, so I couldn't appreciate it at the time of Yule, although Yule there, Yule here, totally different time zones. So I have until June technically to really make the most of this, and I'll probably whip it out around June to really connect with it. But I had a bit of a read through it. I found myself really taken by the stories. The creativity that these women poured into this creation is absolutely phenomenal, and I just really wanted to mention that. So I'm going to leave the link in the description box below so that you can check that out for yourself. It's highly worth a read. It's just beautiful. I cannot say enough nice things about it, and the fact that they decided to put this together in such a creative way, makes me want to give them that solid thumbs up. And like I said, come Yule, which will be in June, July here for us in the Southern Hemisphere, I will be revisiting it, and it will make a lot more sense to me then, and I will be able to feel it a lot more then as well. So I'm going to leave the link, like I said, and I really want you to check it out because it is lovely, and I will be talking about it again. So there you have it, beautiful souls. That is my February favourites basket, and I've got to say that I had quite a nice time outside filming. I love being in the sunshine, I love being in the nature, I love taking all my goodies out here to be charged by that solar energy. And if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and if you would like to see more of these videos, then by all means let me know. Thank you, Guy on a bulldozer. So there's a lot of noise in my neighbourhood. Tuesday seems to be a day where I get a lot of industrial noise around me, although I live in the burbs, so there's no industry around me per se, it's just people doing their thing. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is that, oh yes, I forgot. My ritual tarot course that I did for Tarot Summer School last year in 2017 has been made legacy, so it is now available all the time. So if you didn't get a chance to do my ritual tarot course but wanted to, it is now available at Tarot Summer School, and I'm really excited that Ethany decided to to make that a legacy course, because she approached me. She said it was really, really popular. I didn't realize how popular it was, and people have told me that I undervalue myself in some ways, and perhaps they're true, because I really don't. I didn't realize how much people liked it, but I've got such wonderful feedback, and and I'm just really stoked that it's now available like all the time. So yay! And I'm going to be teaching at Tarot Summer School again this year. I'm putting together a course relating to tarot and witchcraft and spellcraft and things of that nature. So if you took the ritual tarot course last year, you will probably find this an even deeper, more meaningful type of course, and lots of witchcraft, lots of making, lots of crafting per se, in association with the tarot, using the tarot as a rudder, as a compass, as a tool for deeper magical workings. So I'm really looking forward to putting that together, and I've started work on that already, on top of my Bonestone and Earthflesh tarot deck guidebook. Yes, so Bonestone is going beautifully. Cards are being created phenomenally. We are finishing off the Court of Wands, and we've had to do a few little shuffle around there, and I'm just loving the vibe that it's taken on. And I've just completed the Sun write-up. It took me a really long time to get through Sun. I'm beginning work on Judgment now, and doing the writing for that, and I like to sit and marinate on each and every card. It's been a really fun time. So that's a little update at the end of my favorites video for you. So I sincerely hope that you are all doing magically wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and bringing a little sunshine into your life. Literally, the sun is like here, so I'm bringing that sunshine energy into your life, bringing a little bit of nature, a little bit of greenery, and hoping that if you're in the thick of winter, or you're still in that really cold that really cold type of ambiance in nature, that it's starting to liven up and lighten up for you. So sending you much love and many blessings. Please look after yourself. Mwah.